Vunipola at the end of the week that he's had. An awful lot of headlines, an awful lot of chatter. By some distance, the greatest moment of Billy Vunipola's week. He's a try scorer in the semi-final.
Spoken about your teammates and about the importance of family coming into this week. How did you feel coming into this one, Billy, given the storm that you've been part of, that you somewhat created over the last couple of weeks?
Behind closed doors, I felt a lot of love, a lot of kindness shown to me, and obviously, like I said, I'm very grateful to be part of this team, and hopefully we can just keep this going, keep up what we're doing, and enjoying every minute of it.
You were booed last week, you were booed when you got the ball today as well. Have you got anything to say to those people that kind of felt strongly enough to do that today about your words?
No, I think from my point of view, I'm just, I believe in what I believe in. You know, there was no intention to hurt anyone, never my intention. And like I said, I'm just grateful to be able to play, be able to be fit, and hopefully we'll see those guys in the final.
What do you think?
He should have apologised. He says it's not his intention to hurt anyone, but he did hurt people. So if he's that kind and that gentle and that nice a soul, and his beliefs are one thing, you know what I mean? Like I've said this before, I've said it about Israel Folau, whatever they believe is they're quite entitled to, but they're using social media platform built on being a sports person to air bigotry, in my opinion, and you know, so he should have apologised. The only voice that the crowd have, and the only opportunity for any of those people in the crowd, it's the only opportunity to say anything about it is to boo him and show their displeasure at what he said. Some people say it was very unsavoury and it was wrong and they shouldn't be booing him and stuff like that, but you know, Israel Folau and Billy Vunipola and the other rugby players who've liked the messages from Folau have been offended by it and don't agree with it, and the fan coming onto the field was wrong and stupid, but I just think he should have apologised, say I believe in what I believe in, and the toughest week of his life, Jesus, Ger, come on, he brought it on himself and he had a great chance to say, look, I'm sorry for what I said. I do believe in what I believe, and I'm sorry I've offended people. And you know, so it's.
Should McCall have taken more of a role in that?
It's difficult for the coach there. What does he do? Drop his best player? You know, drag it on? They've said they spoke about it internally. So this is his first rap. It's like if the Folau one in April from Australia, they took him aside and said, "Don't do this," and. It's just people talk about freedom of speech, and freedom of speech, of course, freedom of speech.
Yeah, but it's not without consequences.
Exactly, you're going to have consequences.
You reveal yourself to be an ignorant pig. We're going to treat you like an ignorant pig.
If you're a sports person, you know what I mean. You have to realise that if you're going to offend a lot of people, and the game itself wants to include people from all genders and sexualities and whatever. That he's someone playing the game, and Folau is the same. So, you know, I said this, there's no problem with Israel Folau going down to his local church and praying every day and going to his church and, you know, even enhancing his beliefs with people around him. But you've seen all the rugby players in Australia who've distanced themselves and said they don't agree with what he said. So they're dividing people in the sport. And, you know, I think he added to it a little bit on Saturday again by, you know, banging his chest and kind of waving at the crowd. He'd have been better off just not to react to that, because he's just showing people that he doesn't care. He doesn't really care if he's offended people. So there's one thing, and you can be sorry for offending people and still believe in what you believe in. And I thought he had a chance to apologise and say, look, I'm sorry if I hurt people. What if some of his teammates are gay? What if some of his the academy players and Saracens are gay?
Well, they're going to hell, according to Billy Vunipola.
But he believes that, but he shouldn't be putting it out publicly, and you know. And he tweeted, he liked the tweet from Folau, then he added his own tweet in to clarify. And part of me understands that, you know, he's trying not to offend, but then when you realise you've offended, at least say, I'm sorry for offending. and he didn't say that, and it wasn't the toughest week of his life.
Well, you know, if it was entirely self-inflicted, and I also thought that the coverage from BT there was completely tone deaf. It was like the whole notion that you know, it's a story of redemption for Billy Vunipola scoring a try, despite the fact that he has helped spread hatred and bigotry around the world at the click of a button. He like completely did not take responsibility for his actions or his part in that, and as you say, it has real life consequences for people all over the world. And it's like this great guy has just done this thing to shut these fans up who are angry about this thing. What are they even like? It was almost like BT Sport didn't know what had happened. Yeah,
and look, it's, to be fair, Austin Healy picked him as man of the match, and he'll argue that he felt he was the best player in the field. There was other people who could have got it, and I think they were blindsided a little bit, to be fair, in their defence, and I've been in that position where something's happened really quickly, like a sending off or a yellow card, or the narrative has changed in the game. But what I do now as a commentator, and what I've learned over the years, is I tend to look at scenarios that potentially could happen, like red cards, yellow cards, erratic score lines, shock results, and I prepare myself for a couple of different stories that what could happen. So I'm not blindsided. So, you know,
there was a good chance Billy Vunipola was going to be man of the match.
There was.
He's their best player.
The mistake, the panel and the commentators and stuff didn't prepare for that, and they were kind of were a bit blindsided. So Billy Vunipola's man of the match. I thought Sarah Elgin, what she asked him was fair, and she tried to. She could have been harder on him, but she asked him.
Yeah, she opened the door.
She opened the door, and she gave him a chance.
But the commentary around it from the
yeah, it was insensitive, I think, a little bit. But I pictured myself being in that situation, and sometimes when you're kind of there, you're afraid, and you overanalyze what you should and shouldn't say, and then sometimes you can say the wrong thing or not get the tone right. So I wouldn't be as hard on the commentators, but I think when you look back on it. They got it wrong, and I think they'd admit that themselves, that it was a little bit insensitive to. So again, if somebody who's gay was watching the game on Saturday, and they would be kind of offended by that he wasn't kind of called out and said that we don't, even if they say we don't agree with what he said, and you know, it just they got the. Yeah,
but it wasn't a comeback story. He wasn't coming back from some personal tragedy. He was coming back from liking a homophobic, disgusting tweet.
But it was strange last week, like Friday and Saturday, reading the papers, they were talking that, you know, Saracens would use it as a kind of a rallying call, and they were all going to. They were going to build this kind of siege mentality around. And I was kind of saying, how exactly? And even if you look like what Vunipola said there about, you know, the booing, he said, well, hopefully we'll see those people in the final. I was kind of going, what exactly? So is he saying he wants that atmosphere again? You know, like, I don't know what McCall is. Like, it's very strange to try to say, oh, we're going to try to build a siege mentality around it. He's being wronged. Because supposedly they do this a lot in Saracens. I didn't know. You know, they look for these angles where everyone is against us type thing.
It's a chip in the shoulder mentality that they have. They had a great chance this week. They handled it wrong. I think Saracens, it's grand saying, the start of the week, we're going to deal with it internally and we're going to do this, that and the other thing. But
I think English rugby at the moment is rudderless and lacking all sense of moral compass. And I think that this ties into the fact that there weren't enough people at that game, because what they've done is they've diffused all the power to the clubs, while at the same time the RFU is almost bankrupt, despite the fact they own the stadium, which pumps out cash, and they have that massive TV deal from the Six Nations. Something happened in English rugby at some point over the last 10 years ago where they completely lost their way. And now you have all these clubs who are losing money hand over fist to the point where they have to sell a part of their future to a venture capitalist firm to try and rescue the situation and go, oh, no, this is all going to be fine. This is all going to be fine. It's just like 10 years of loss making. And then one day everybody's going to start buying TV subscriptions, which doesn't happen anymore, and rescue this. And it's not going to happen. And in the meantime, we're watching it going, you're saying that it's actually okay for a player to do this. You are saying it's okay because you didn't suspend him. You took no action against him of any consequence for what he did. And now the team are using it as a rallying cry to say, actually, what he did wasn't the wrong thing.
It's going to make us stronger and stuff like that. If I was in the Saracens team, I wouldn't want it to make us. I wouldn't want to use something like that as a motivating factor. I would be uncomfortable with that because they're actually getting behind. And look, stick up for your player and all that. But what he did was wrong. Saracens should have come out and said it's wrong. They did say we don't agree with it, and it's been dealt with internally, but they weren't strong enough on it. Yeah, they weren't strong enough on it, and
we were making them play.
I thought he had a great chance to put it to bed. It's going to rumble on, and like I said, you know, there's headlines in the papers yesterday about his brother backing him up and saying he handled it great, and you know, it motivated us and brought us together. It's irritating and it's frustrating to see that because I thought Gareth Thomas was on Channel 4 the other day and he summed it up perfectly, much better than I can, because I'm not gay. Gareth Thomas is gay and he was highly offended by it. Lots of people were very, very much offended by that whole scenario, and we've allowed this to fester and we've allowed this now to go on again.
And it'll be a narrative for the final as well.
And the stupidity of some people online saying, well, freedom of speech and he shouldn't be fined, Folau shouldn't be suspended and he shouldn't have his contract terminated. Plain stupidity from him. If you get a warning, if you give me a warning here, Ger, and say, well, don't say this again, Quinny, on air, or you're in trouble, it's compromising our position, and I go and do it again, well, who's the stupid one? Whether I believe in what I've said or not, it's my choice then to either jeopardise my job or not, and that's what Folau has done.
Yeah.
And here you have, but Vunipola's comments are as bad as Folau, in my opinion, as bad. Because he's used it publicly, again, built on a social media platform for sport. He's a great rugby player. Keep your beliefs to yourself. You don't have to endorse somebody else. It is creating hate and it has created hate. And rugby wants inclusivity and people from all genders and sexualities to be able to play the game and enjoy it. And I think it's wrong. He had a chance. If he apologised at the weekend, I still believe what I believe, but I'm sorry if I offended people.
Look, I think it's definitely going to be something we're going to come back to as well in the build-up to the final.
Well, it's not going to go away.
No.
Until he does something like that, which he evidently isn't going to do.
And English rugby are not going to step in and do anything because he's their most important player. Like we've seen England play without him. And
does the whole Eddie Jones thing fit into it? Like when I watched England even during the Six Nations, they again had this. They're back to the old kind of 1980s teams where it's, you know, belligerent, a lot of big men, a lot of, you know, they're bullying teams, and it's all about we don't care about anyone else, we're just keeping this in-house, you know, it's siege mentality thing. Jones is spiky, to say the least. Like there seems to be a kind of a thread right through the whole thing, you know, of this kind of like, you know, we're just going to keep it all in-house, you know, screw everyone else type thing. Yeah. Whatever happens, and it's all England.
I think the players, the Saracens players, should have been briefed on that quickly, even after the game when they went to the press conference and say, look, let's not go down the siege mentality and it's made us tighter, made us stronger. Like their player has come out with divisive comments last weekend who've insulted and upset people and could cause a lot of distress for lots of people. Yeah. And they've come out and said, well, we've used this as a motivating factor to make us stronger. There's absolutely no doubt Saracens are a brilliant team. And Mark McCall is a top-class bloke, great coach, he's done a brilliant job. I know him well, I played with him. He's a brilliant fella. But again, hindsight's a great thing. I think if they look back, and maybe they won't care what I say, what you say, what Anthony or anybody else says. I think it's wrong. They clearly don't. I think it's wrong. I think they were very insensitive the way they handled the whole thing.
One last thing we did want to get your take on. Billy Vunipola booed all match by the Munster fans, confronted on the field by a Munster fan in the aftermath of the game.
I don't know, was he a Munster fan? Hold on. he was in tailored shorts and boating shoes.
What are you suggesting? Where do you think he's from?
I don't know. We'll have to.
They're not allowed down in Munster.
Give us no, we're not. He had the jersey on. I reckon he was a plant.
He had the Leinster jersey underneath.
Wrote out your Kleiny accent first there. It was a talkie.
All he was missing with the Brown Thomas bag. Wasn't he lucky Vunipola didn't go at him?
I'll tell you.
Pretty lucky, yeah. I mean,
that was another think aspect that warrants comment on, like how disappointing was the crowd and the occasion. And this is semi-final European Cup. It looked like Super Rugby where your stadium's half empty. This is the semi-final. These are the biggest days in Europe, and why is it like that, Ger? What are they saying?
The English clubs have ruined this competition by pricking around with it over the last half decade. I think that's what that's about. The fact that they don't even have it as the end of the season anymore, the way it is in every other sport. The big European competition is the end of the football season proper.
Yeah, exactly.
In soccer. And the English clubs have completely demeaned this competition by threatening to pull out of it and complaining about the Irish teams having the opportunity to rest players. Saracens rested loads of players before their game last week, and it was like not a peep out of it. So I think that's what it has to do with. And also they should have played the game closer to London so that Saracens fan base were able to go there. Like this whole not being able to play a home game at your home stadium. Just if you're the best team in the competition, you should be able to play games at home and turn it into an event, an occasion, I think. But
there's warning signs there. It's dangerous territory rugby's in now, because this is a special competition. This is, well, obviously I'm biased because the competition gives me the most fantastic of memories, but it was just so disheartening to see that. And I think rugby's in very dangerous grounds. If the European Cup is diminished or lost, the Irish clubs are going to feel that more than anyone.
Yeah, no, for sure. I do want to play you this because Tommy put this together. Here's how BT Sport crowned Billy Vunipola's week on Saturday afternoon. Have a listen.
And then Vunipola at the end of the week that he's had. An awful lot of headlines, an awful lot of chatter. By some distance, the greatest moment of Billy Vunipola's week. He's a try scorer in the semi-final.
Spoken about your teammates and about the importance of family coming into this week. How did you feel coming into this one, Billy, given the storm that you've been part of, that you somewhat created over the last couple of weeks?
Behind closed doors, I felt a lot of love, a lot of kindness shown to me, and obviously, like I said, I'm very grateful to be part of this team, and hopefully we can just keep this going, keep up what we're doing, and enjoying every minute of it.
But you were booed last week, you were booed when you got the ball today as well. Have you got anything to say to those people that kind of felt strongly enough to do that today about your words?
No, I think from my point of view, I'm just I believe in what I believe in. There was no intention to hurt anyone, never my intention. And like I said, I'm just grateful to be able to play, be able to be fit, and hopefully we'll see those guys in the final.
What do you think of this, Robin?
Well, his words are contradictory, aren't they? I didn't mean to hurt anyone, yet I liked something that grossly offends so many people. So, I just think, you got to separate. Obviously, his performance on the pitch was really good, but I don't think he should be given a stage to proclaim how great he is and what he kind of essentially believes in for himself. I really don't have much interest here in commenting on him or kind of giving oxygen to him. I think it was he's very lucky in the fact that he probably should have been banned from the game, and rugby is the rugby family encompasses every different possible belief, and out of respect for your teammates and for people, you kind of keep those views private.
Yeah, it feels to me a little bit like English rugby is a little bit morally bankrupt when it comes to this, that they in the past would have taken a stand about players and discipline and things. Now, because we're so close to the World Cup, it feels like they've made the right decision for their World Cup chances as opposed to the right decision for the sport and for the integrity of the game into the future. That if this wasn't Billy Vunipola, if this was somebody who was a third or fourth or fifth choice player, they would have banned him, absolutely no issues. But his talent has given him the opportunity to continue playing.
Yeah, agreed. They're horses for courses, isn't it? Picking what suits them and deciding the outcome in relation to who the spoken candidate is. So not consistent one bit. If it was Chris Ashton or someone like that, there might have been a different punishment.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, we kind of made him out that it was kind of nothing of his doing, it was all of his undoing. He controlled everything. He was the person who decided to like it. He surely put some thought into that before he pressed the like button or whatever it is on Instagram. I'm not too sure of how it works, but it's a I am a big fan of people with strong beliefs, but I think it's very important that one of the most important values in rugby you learn is respect. I don't think that's respectful.
Ronan, great stuff. Thanks for joining us this morning. Cheers.
Cheers, lads. See you.